All right, so are you ready for this?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Today, we're going deep, really deep, into the world of the black widow spider. And, I feel like everyone's heard of black widows,
Oh, yeah, they've definitely got a reputation.
but how much of what we know is actually true? Like, I'm talking, are they really as deadly as everyone says? What's the deal with that whole mate-eating thing? We're going to find out.
I think we're going to uncover some surprises along the way.
I'm sure of it. So just to lay the groundwork, we're dealing with a Latrodectus genus, part of the Theridiidae family.
That's right. And while they're infamous in North America, you can actually find black widows all over the world.
Really?
Yep, in both temperate and tropical climates. Australia, Asia, Africa. They're pretty adaptable.
Huh. Never knew that. Okay, so first things first. The males and females, there's a pretty big difference, right?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty dramatic. The females, they're the ones we usually picture, jet black, that red hourglass marking. They can get to be about an inch and a half long, legs and all.
Yeah, they're not exactly tiny.
Nope. The males, on the other hand, they're much smaller.
Way less intimidating, I imagine.
Pretty much. They're also more likely to be brown or gray rather than black. And that size difference isn't just for show. It actually plays a big role in their roles, I guess you could say.
Like what?
Well, those big females, their main job is, cranking out those egg sacs, defending their webs.
Makes sense.
Whereas the males, being smaller, they're more mobile, so they're the ones out there looking for mates.
So it's like a division of labor kind of thing.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about that iconic red hourglass on the female's abdomen. It's like nature's warning sign.
Right. I mean, I think most people, if they see that, they know to back away slowly.
And that's exactly the point. It's aposematism, basically a way for an animal to advertise its defenses. In the black widow's case, it's saying, hey, I'm venomous, don't even think about messing with me.
Smart strategy, really. Avoid conflict altogether. Speaking of which, black widows, they're not exactly social butterflies, are they?
Definitely not. They're pretty solitary, preferring dark, undisturbed places to set up shop.
I can see why.
Like you might find them in wood piles, basements, under rocks, really anywhere they can spin their webs and, just chill.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
So their webs, I've heard they're not like the classic spider webs we see in, like, Halloween decorations.
Oh, yeah, they're quite different. Forget those neat, symmetrical spirals. Black widow webs are all about, they're messy, irregular.
So more of a free-form art kind of thing.
I guess you could say that. But don't let the messy look fool you. They're made of incredibly strong, sticky silk, which is, it's perfect for trapping their prey.
And that prey would be?
Mostly insects. Flies, beetles, moths, anything that gets caught in those sticky threads. And once they're trapped, that's when the venom comes in.
Ah, yeah. That's the part everyone wants to know about.
I know, right? So picture this. The black widow injects its venom, which contains a cocktail of neurotoxins. The main one, the real star of the show, is Latrodectus. And this stuff, it's basically a microscopic nerve scrambler.
Okay, I am officially creeped out.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. It shuts down the prey's nervous system, leading to paralysis.
Right.
Pretty efficient way of securing a meal.
Efficient, sure, but terrifying. So let's talk about humans for a second. How dangerous is a black widow bite? Really?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A black widow bite, it's something you want to avoid. It can cause some pretty nasty symptoms. We're talking pain, muscle cramps, sweating, maybe some nausea. In some cases, people even have trouble breathing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
It's definitely not a pleasant experience. But here's the thing. Fatalities are actually incredibly rare.
Oh, that's a relief. But why? If the venom's so potent, why aren't there more serious cases?
Well, it comes down to dosage. Black widows, they deliver a very small amount of venom when they bite, and thankfully we have anti-venom available to treat those severe cases.
So it's treatable, that's good to know.
Absolutely. But I think we need to address the, the elephant in the room, or maybe the spider in the web, as it were.
Oh, you mean the whole black widows eat their mates thing?
Exactly. It's like black widows have this femme fatale image in pop culture. But like many things, the truth is more complicated.
So do they or don't they?
Well, yes, it can happen, but it's not as common in the wild as people think. And the males, they're not just sitting ducks, They actually have a pretty fascinating way of trying to avoid becoming dinner.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's kind of like a, I guess you could call it a web serenade.
A web serenade? Okay, you've got to explain this one.
So the male black widow, he'll approach the female's web and start plucking the strands in a specific pattern.
He's playing her a song.
In a way, yeah. It's thought that this signaling helps the female recognize him as a potential meat and not just another tasty snack.
So it's more like a risky courtship dance than a guaranteed death sentence.
Exactly. It's a gamble, for sure, but it seems to work often enough to keep those males coming back for more.
That's wild. Okay, so let's back up a bit. How do black widows even get to that point? What's their life cycle like?
Well, it all starts with those egg sacs. A female black widow can lay multiple sacs, each containing hundreds of eggs.
Hundreds. Wow, that's a lot of baby spiders.
It is, but not all of them make it. The spiderlings hatch after about 20 days, and things they get competitive from the get-go.
Competitive how?
They're cannibalistic, meaning many of those spiderlings end up as meals for their siblings. Only the strongest or maybe luckiest survive.
Talk about a tough start to life.
Yeah.
But how do those survivors spread out, find new places to spread their webs?
They have this amazing ability called ballooning. Basically, they release silk threads that catch the wind, and it's like they turn into these tiny hang gliders drifting off to new territories.
I love that. So tiny spider hang gliders off to start their own spooky empires.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about humans again. What should we do if we come face to face with a black widow?
First thing to remember, they're not out to get us. They're not aggressive. They're just trying to live their lives. They bite defensively, usually when they feel threatened or trapped. So the key is awareness, especially if you're working in areas where they might be hanging out.
Like those woodpiles we talked about.
Exactly. Wearing gloves is always a good idea. Just being cautious can go a long way.
And if, worst case scenario, someone does get bitten.
Well, like we said, the symptoms can be unpleasant. Pain, cramps, sweating, sometimes nausea, breathing difficulties in some cases. It's important to seek medical attention. Anti-venom is available, and most people make a full recovery.
Good to know. So it sounds like black widows, maybe they get a bit of a bad rap. I mean, they're fascinating creatures. They play a vital role in keeping insect populations down, which honestly benefits all of us.
Couldn't agree more. And their venom, while dangerous, it also holds potential. Researchers are exploring its use in pain management, even in treating certain neurological conditions. It's a reminder that even creatures we might fear can have hidden benefits.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up our deep dive into the world of the black widow. Hopefully we've shed some light on these misunderstood creatures.
Absolutely.
And maybe next time you see a spider web, you'll think twice before just brushing it away. Until next time.